Good morning, all of you beautiful souls. And I want to wish you a happy full moon in Scorpio. Just about 2 hours ago, right around 5:45 a.m. in Minneapolis, the full moon came direct. If you were up around 5:30, 5:15, you might have actually seen the full moon in the western sky, which would have been pretty nice to witness. And it's an interesting one. Scorpio energy always brings a lot of intensity and a bit of heaviness in with it because of its power. And there's an inherent darkness within Scorpio energy. So Scorpio is the archetype is like the shaman, and they're capable of incredible emotional depth, and through that emotional depth they can really easily match other people's emotional depth and guide them into the light, literally transmuting darkness into light. That is the true power of Scorpio. And I at this time it's an interesting alignment to work with Scorpio energy. So Scorpio is ruled by Mars and Pluto, and Mars is relatively quiet these days. It's in Aquarius. It will be making a nice trine with the North Node in a little bit here, but right now it's kind of quiet. And Pluto is retrograde, and so while yes, this is a Mars and Pluto ruled full moon, really Neptune's the star here, and I say that because we have Venus aspecting Neptune, we have Mercury aspecting Neptune, and we have the moon actually in a lovely trine with Neptune. And all of this is making for some really interesting thought patterns, making for some really interesting behavioral patterns, and confusing the point to a significant degree. So I'll start with the Venus and Neptune aspect because we've been dealing with that for about a week now, and it's not going away anytime soon here, because Venus is about to go retrograde, I think in a week or so. I could be wrong about that. I think it's around May 12th. Venus goes retrograde, and so while she's about to go retrograde, she slows down. And so now that she has slowed down her orbit, she's not really budging from this square with Neptune, this challenging energy. Venus and Neptune energies work pretty well together, in the sense that they both have to do with connection and love. Venus, however, also rules the divine feminine, romance, and how we connect with people, and also has a lot to do with money in the material world. It's a very sensual planet, and Neptune again is sort of rules the ethereal realms. It is this great dissolver of the illusion, and brings us into sort of a dream world at times. Now, we've been dealing with that, so there's been some friction in relationships, there's been some friction in our friendships, there's been friction in how we make money. This is an interesting time, and probably some confusion within that as well. So Neptune likes to kind of sprinkle in some confusion within its aspects, and so you probably have had some conflicting information come your way. You probably had some thought patterns really take over, and it can be a lot to work with. So now we have Venus and Neptune. We also have the moon and Neptune. The moon and Neptune work pretty nicely together. So this is a nice aspect for us. The moon represents our inner, most intimate self, our emotional self. With that being in Scorpio and Neptune being in Pisces, we've got some really nice harmony there that should allow us to tap into some of the psychic messages coming through with Neptune and Pisces, and really be able to receive these things, probably via dreams, via meditations, that kind of thing, are likely where you're going to be getting some downloads over this moon cycle. And what's nice about this is, since it is the full moon, this moon aspect will be lasting for the next 3 or 4 weeks. So we'll be working with this for a little while now. And then we also have Mercury aspecting Neptune. And Mercury and Neptune don't really get along that well. They're just not really compatible energies. So Mercury is this very detail-oriented, structured, wants to very much work through things rationally, and Neptune, frankly, doesn't. Neptune doesn't see the point for the rational mind because it knows that it's an illusion, right? Neptune just wants to dissolve into the, next world at this point. And so it can create tendencies for escapism. It can create tendencies towards drug use, alcohol use, that kind of thing, are all potential traps of this full moon. And with Scorpio being involved, there's this inherent fear of what we're going through, of that I can't talk to anybody about this. I can't let anybody know how I'm feeling about this. They can't handle it. They can't handle this emotions that are boiling up inside of me right now. And to that I would say, working through all this confusion is really challenging. And we have a really nice and new way forward right now, which is the North Node in Gemini. The North Node in Gemini, again, beckoning us to really talk, have a conversation, open a dialogue. You don't even need to start it out with, I'm confused about this, but just through conversation with people, you might find a little bit of insight that you weren't expecting to see that can shed some light on your situation. And really looking for people who can match your emotional depth is really important for this too. Again, Scorpio needs to be met where it is, and because it's at a pretty deep place. So more to come. I'm gonna have a blog post out later today on the Scorpio full moon, but it's an active time. It's the end of a cycle, and just a heads up as well. Neptune also rules death, and so just know that again, it's this pulling back the veil on the physical illusion, right? It's transcending the physical illusion. Well, sometimes that means death. And so, I couldn't go through this without saying that. And it's not that any of this is good, bad, right, or wrong. This is all just is, and it's how the world is unfolding. But just know that these are things that are all on the table when Neptune is involved. So take care. I love you. If you feel like donating, that sounds great. If not, that's great too. I love everyone who just watches these videos, shares these videos, comments, gives me feedback. I appreciate all of you so much.